Nosson Hanavi and the prophet Nosson. There were two prophets in the court of David, Nosson and God. Shimi Berei, and Shimi and Rei, who were his two Rabbeim, his two teachers. They were the great Torah leaders of the time. The Hagibori Mashel the David, and David's personal guard, the great men. The Talmud says the Gibori means the Talmidei Chachamim, the scholars of Israel. The Sanhedrin stayed with David. They did not go with Adoniyo. Lo hayu im Adoniyo. They were not with him. They did not support Adoniyo's coup here to take over the kingdom. Vayizbach Adoniyo tzonu voko Marie. So Adoniyo made a great feast, and they brought sacrifices, tzonu voko Marie, sheep and cattle and goats. Im even asocheles, near the magnet stone, lodestone, which was a famous place, Asher Eitzel Ein Rogel, outside of Ein Rogel. Ein Rogel was a place that was well known, and David himself used the places for target practice when he and Yehonason were friends. Vayikras kol echad b'nei HaMelech, he invited to this gathering all of his brothers, the other princes of the house of David, and all of the important government officials. Everybody received an invitation, black tie. But Vesnosan Anovi, Uvenoyahu, Vesagiborim, Veshlomo Ochiv Lo Kara. He pointedly did not invite the prophet Nosan, nor did he invite Benoyahu ben Yoyada, nor did he invite the Talmidei Chachamim, nor did he invite his brother Shlomo. All the other brothers were invited, Shlomo was not. Well, that immediately not only tipped them off that he wanted to become the king, but it tipped them off that if he became the king, these guys were through. And therefore, by not inviting them, he makes a tactical error, because he galvanizes them into taking defensive action against him. And they will put the problem to David. David is unaware of all of this. Vayomer Nosson el Bathsheba ein Shlomo lemor. Nosson the Novi came to Bathsheba, the queen, the mother of Shlomo, and he said to her, Alo Shomat, ki molach Adoniyo ben Chagis. Have you not heard that Adoniyo ben Chagis has proclaimed himself king? He's crowned himself. V'Adonenu David lo yodo, and our master David is unaware of it. Therefore, let me advise you. No hate, so I'll give you an advice. I have a plan. We have to save the situation. Umalti asnafshech, and you will save your life. He said, I'm not talking here about power, about wealth. This is a matter of life or death, because if you don't do something, he's going to kill you. Ves nefesh b'nei Shlomo, and the life of your son Shlomo. V'chiu v'oi ala melech David. Come and speak to the king. V'yomarte lov, and say to him, Halo ato Adoni HaMelech nishbato lamoscho lemo. Remind him of his promises to you. David, did you not take an oath to me, saying, Ki Shlomo b'nei chiyim lo chacharai, that your son Shlomo is my heir, V'hu yeshev al kisi, and that he will sit on the throne of David. Madua molach Adoniyo. Ask him straight. And how come Adoniyo has become the king? That'll get a rise out of it. I mean, Nosson knows him. That will touch David. Hinei odoch medaberes shomim hamelech. And while you are still speaking with the king, v'ani ovo acharayich, I will enter. Because the prophet had carte blanche. The prophet could enter the king's presence whenever he wanted, and the prophet could say to the king whatever he wanted. Every melech needed a prophet. Now, rabbis say that in the Bayesheni there were no prophets. One of the reasons that there were no prophets was that there were no kings. Even though later Chashmonaim established themselves as kings, but they were not kings in the biblical sense of the word. But the problem with power is yes men. All right? President Reagan had a terrific idea. Everybody said, oh yeah, it's great. Let's do it, Ron. We'll get the hostages out, and we'll have money for Nicaragua, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. And it's all going to be a terrific idea. Somebody should have said, don't be a schmo. Don't be crazy. It's going to blow the whole thing. But nobody says that, because if you say it, you're out of the job. or there are other consequences, but nobody likes to hear criticism. And the history of all people in power is that eventually they succumb to those who always tell them what a great job they're doing. I think one of the refreshing things about the Rabbonis is that there's very little danger of that. And there are, unfortunately, many, many areas in life when a person has to be told you're making a bad mistake. Don't do it. The Netziv of Volozhin says in his parish in the Hamik Dover to Chumash on the verse that the Rebbeinu Shalom said that he's creating a woman to be with Odom Arishon, to be Ezer Kenegdo, a helpmate Kenegdo. So the Talmud says, Zocha, it's an Ezer, Lo Zocha, it's Kenegdo. That if the person is meritorious, then she's a help to him, otherwise she's against him. His interpretation of the Talmudic statement is that if the person is Zocha, then she'll tell him criticism. Her job is to be Kenegdo. Her job is to tell him, listen, you're doing wrong. Not to be subservient. Not to let it happen. Because you let it happen, then you're just as guilty as the one that's doing it. Many times, so you're talking about people who have a certain level of maturity, that it's very hard to take criticism, very hard. And especially the more intimate the person is with someone else, then the harder it is. Very hard to back off.
What is the role exactly of the Navi?
So that the
Case, I mean, each one had like a...
Right, because the Navi's role was that he knew that Jewish destiny depended upon Shlomo becoming the king and not Adoniyahu.
But what I mean is his job was after the fact. I mean, first it was the king and then...
Yeah, the king had power, no question. The king had power, but the Navi came afterwards. The Navi told him, you're doing right, you're doing wrong, you shouldn't do it. The famous incident with Bathsheba herself, where the Navi comes to him, God comes to him and says the famous parable about the wealthy man that had many sheep, and he stole the poor man's sheep and took him. And took the poor man's sheep. What should the judgment be? And the king said, the man is chayae misa, the man is a murderer for doing that, for stealing from the poor man. So he says, Ata zeh ish, you're the man. You're talking about yourself. Well, that takes somebody to say that to the king, and especially to King David, right? To the author of Tehillim. I mean, you're not... So that was the job of the Navi. The job of the Navi was to do it.
But these and them are relatively unknown.
That's right. That didn't diminish their role. The fact that they are relatively unknown is because their prophecy was for only a certain time. The Nevi'im that we know is because their prophecy is for later generations as well. Much of their prophecy still remains to be fulfilled, etc. But there were hundreds, if not thousands, of Nevi'im that existed for the Jewish people, whose names we don't even know. But these were like the house prophets, Nosson and God. They were the house prophets. And they were the ones, they had free entry any time into David's office or room, and they could tell him what they wanted to. Bathsheba came into the king's bedroom. And the king appeared very old. And Avishag was tending to the king. She bowed to the king. He said, what's wrong? What do you want? And here she gives him the speech. Adoni, my master, you took an oath to the Lord your God, to me, to your servant, that Shlomo will be the heir. She repeats the words that he said. All of a sudden, Adoniyahu is the king. This is a sly dig. It must be that you don't know. Right? It can't be that you know about it. He must have snuck it over on you, because I can't believe that you would break your word to me. Chazal characterized the relationship between Bathsheba and David as always a difficult one, because of the fact that She, even though Chazal say that it is not as simple as it appears in Tanakh, the sin that he committed, but nevertheless, she's a reminder to him of a painful incident, and so is Shlomo. And that's how Ribono Shel Olam does it many times. He has sacrificed a great deal of animals, a great many animals, and he's invited all the royal household, Ulev Yosar HaKohen, and he's invited Ev Yosar, Yoav Saratzova, and he's invited the General Yoav. She does not say that they have defected, even though she knows that, but she doesn't want to say that, because that's a blow that David will not be able to bear very easily, that Yoav at the end of his life should defect, should turn treacherous against him. Very hard for him to take.
He has been aware that the prophet had been made Shlomo.
Who, David? Oh yeah, they're aware, but they don't want Shlomo. They don't think that Shlomo can govern. They don't see in Shlomo the genius, the man of wisdom, etc. God does not give that gift to Shlomo until he becomes the king. So they don't see. They see, a snot-nosed, bratty kid. That's the product of a marriage that is under a cloud, and he's going to be the king. Why should he be the king? Never fought in a war for us. Never did anything. And they're the old guard. They've been for 40 years fighting the battles of David. So why should this boy come and take it from them? I mean, you can understand their psychology. But to your servant Shlomo, to his brother, he never invited him. Shlomo is not invited. So, you, my master, the king, she's really pushing him because, before you die, say what's going to happen, which is maybe not very nice. But she's telling him that the public interest demands that. Your last job as the king is to ensure the proper successor. You cannot now stand aside. Who is going to be the king? You have to make a public proclamation. Now, the power of David is such that the public proclamation alone, even without calling out the army, the public proclamation alone will take all the winds out of the sails of Adonio. He will be unable to pursue it. Slowly, everybody will drop off because they don't want to fight David. She says to him, just as bluntly as possible, when you lie down with your fathers, when you die, you're not going to be here to protect us anymore. I and my son Shlomo will be found guilty. We will be the ones at fault. He will have us executed. As she was speaking with the king, then the prophet Noson comes into the room. They was announced. The prophet Noson comes in. He bowed to the king. Did you say that Adonio is going to be the king? Maybe you did. Maybe we don't know anything about it. Tell me. Did you say Adonio is going to be the king and that he will be my successor? Because today he went down and he's making a big party. Again, he emphasizes, if you'll hear the nuance here, he's spending your money. He's throwing who's paying for all of this? All of those oxen and all of those sheep and all of those goats, and without limit. Where's him? He's prolificate. It's a sign. It's a clear indication of his character. You want to become the king, so you don't have a small collation. Right? Make a kiddush and shul. Serve herring. Look what's going on here, David. Tremendous party. to pay him for it. And he invited all of the members of the royal household and all the officers of the army. He doesn't mention Yoav, because they have such an old friendship and an old history that goes back, he can't even bring himself to say it. So he says all of the officers of the army. So Yoav is included in that. But they try to, not to cover up, but they can't bring themselves. They know the pain. Out of all the treachery that David endures in his lifetime, Yoav's is by far the most painful, the most bitter. The person that saved him so many times, and that they went to battle together so many times, and that they experienced then at the end of his life he should leave him and go against him, so that boggles the mind. They are all eating and drinking in front of the new king, Adonio. They're all having a good time. Vayomru, and they all say, Yechi HaMelech Adonio. Here he puts the nail into the coffin. Long live the king. In effect, he's saying, and you're not even dead yet. It's not that you're not cold, you're not dead yet. And they all say, hail to the king. Let the king Adonio live forever. Who made him the king? Is he your king? V'li ani avdecha, and to me, your servant. Ulitzorek HaKohen, Ulivnoyohu ben Yehoyada, V'lishlomo avdecha lo korah. There's only 4 of us who were not invited. And by implication, he says, we're the 4 that are most loyal to you. We're the 4 that you have to count upon. What do you mean not to invite the Navi? You think that you're going to have a kingdom without the Navi? And without the Sanhedrin, without Benoyo ben Yehoyada? I mean, how can that be? So he says, if you're aware of it, and you have so commanded, so then I have nothing more to say. Then I accept the king's judgment. You have the right to do what you want. Yechi Melech Adonio, right? He's the king. Fine. I accept it. I accept my fate. And you did not feel yourself compelled to tell me. Again, there's a slight personal twinge here, right? That you've taken such an important decision. Again, the Novi Nosson has also been through a lot with him. See, if you didn't feel that I'm worthy to know about it, then you didn't want to tell me. He said, okay, I understand. But so tell me that that's it, right? But if it isn't it, then you should know that you have a full-scale rebellion on your hands. You have here something that is wrong, something that is evil, something that you should stop. Now, Vayan HaMelech David Vayomer. David said, Kiruli the Bathsheba, call Bathsheba back in again. Because when the Navi came, so Bathsheba walked out. Because she did not want to appear that they're ganging up on him. So she came and she stood in front of the king. The king took an oath again and he said, Chai Hashem asher podas nafshi mikol tzora. What a phrase. I swear by the God who has redeemed me from all of my troubles, a life of trouble, 70 years of trouble, 70 years of pain. I mean, no one would like the life of David HaMelech. From the beginning, from his brothers, from being the shepherd, from fighting the wolves and the bears and the lions, to the encounter with Goliath Saplishti, to the story of Shaul, through being suspected and being driven from the house of Shaul and hunted as an outlaw, to the rebellion against Shaul, the wars against the Plishtim and the Amaleki, the forging of the Jewish people into a nation, constant troubles, battles, and family troubles, and wives and children, and who can take it? He said, I swear therefore by the God that has redeemed me from all of my troubles. Look what I have been through. So he said, I'll be through one more trouble. The amazing of that, that's why the Gemara says, David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayim. David Melech Yisrael is the symbol of the Jewish people. He lives because he's able to survive. If David would have had a tranquil life and nothing would have touched him and nothing would have bothered him and he would have been one unrelieved success after another, so that's not chayae v'kayam. That doesn't guarantee anything. It's the troubles that make a person. Ki kasher nishbati loch v'Hashem Elokei Yisrael leimor ki shlomo b'nei yimloch acharai v'yeshiv al kisi tachtoi, just as I have sworn to you beforehand, and I have committed myself to you, that your son Shlomo will be the king after my death, and that he will sit in my stead on the throne of Israel. Ki chein easeh hayom hazeh, today I shall proclaim it. Today I will make him the king. There will be no doubt. I will not let the matter rest any longer, so that Adoniyo or anybody else can think that they can sneak in between the cracks, that I'm old and weak and tired, and therefore they can go ahead and do what they want. Today I will proclaim it, which he does. The moment he does that, then this revolution dies stillborn, because they're afraid to take on the aging lion. So Adoniyo lives until Shlomo gets rid of him. Adoniyo then wants to marry Avishag. It's a whole mess. I mean, Adoniyo in Tanakh is portrayed almost as a simpleton at the end, because he just, like he doesn't get it. He thinks Shlomo's his buddy. No, David doesn't. That's the haftara of Vayichi. When we get there, right? That's the next tape. So David leaves a laundry list for Shlomo of things to take care of. Things he could not straighten out in his lifetime, he tells Shlomo to do so. And one of the things that Shlomo does is, because as long as Adoniyo is alive, so then you had a built-in problem. So again, they all underestimate Shlomo. That's really what the problem is. They underestimate him. They think he's young and naive and he hasn't got the strength and he doesn't have the... They don't see that Shlomo is the son of David. And because of that, unwittingly they all contribute to their own demise, to their own disaster. Here we have one of the most ironic psukim in Tanakh. He has promised her that her son will become the king after him, right? So then she has ambivalent feelings towards the old man. The Talmud phrases it as only the Talmud can. The Talmud says a question: if a person has a rich parent and that parent dies and leaves the child money, does he make a bracha shechianu? So you'll say, how not nice. Oh, how true. How a recognition of what human beings are, what the truth of a human being is. That's the way a person feels, especially if his parent didn't ever let him have a dime while he was alive, right? So then the kid's been waiting for it for 40 years. In my limited experience in Rabbonis, I know too many cases. One of the most terrible things that happens in families is that, the father says, I made it on my own, let my kid make it, and the kid is, so the kid can't buy a house, and he can't buy a car, and he can't start a business, he's making it on his own, and then he figures, I'm going to get you. And you say, but that's not nice, right? The kid should appreciate it. That's not how the world works. The world doesn't respond that way. So the Gemara phrases it openly. The Gemara says, what bracha do you make? So the Gemara also says it's not nice, right? It's not seemly to make it, but that the emotion is there, it's there. So here also, he promises her that her son's going to be the king. She gives him the blessing, Vatoma Yechi Adoni Amelech David Lola. May the king David live forever, right? I mean, you were just here, you said, you're going to be in the bed cold in a few days, and you didn't say who the succession is. But that ambivalence does exist. On one hand, she wants him to live. She doesn't want David to die. David is the love of her life. He's the king. He's the husband. She doesn't want him to die. On the other hand, you got the other hand. So both things that she says are sincere. They're both true. That's the complication of life. That's what makes us so complex, is that we all have this little schizophrenia within us, how to deal with it. David dies on the second day, what to us is the second day of Shavuos, the seventh day of Sivan. And this happens like right after Pesach. So he's almost dead. And when he dies and Shlomo succeeds, and the house, the dynasty of the house of David is established. Next week we have vacation in honor of Hanukkah.